What is up, my sweet and spicy, beautiful Pokemon trainers? Today we are back for, I guess, technically more Legend ZA talk. The first video after the Pokemon Presents this past weekend, or I guess not weekend, I guess it was technically last Thursday, and I'm filming this on Monday, but that's neither here nor there. The point is of everything we saw, from the crazy ass starters to the beautiful graphics, beautiful for Pokemon graphics, to just the new kind of like gameplay and the vibe from the video. There's one thing that I feel like people have been talking about, but not focusing on enough, if that makes sense, right? I am, of course, talking about these new battle mechanics. And to demonstrate what I mean for those who don't know, or for those who maybe haven't seen the Pokemon Presents, let's go ahead and I'm gonna take it frame by frame, and we're gonna watch and we're gonna discuss these new battle mechanics. And the idea of this video is to kind of look more closely at the footage, to kind of see what it is telling us, I guess, and then from there, kind of theorize about what these battle mechanics could mean for the future of the game. What kind of gameplay implications they will have in this game, and how I kind of hope it's implemented in particular Legend ZA, right? But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. Volume is off on this video. I have it going at 0.25 speed, so we can kind of take it like shot for shot, right? Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. So we see this is the versus screen. Starts off like a kind of a traditional battle. It goes 360. And then we see the Tepig rushing, right? And it's going for rollout, and you can see it's taking a little bit of time to charge up. Notice the Totodile, as far as I can tell, there's not a button to move the Totodile, right? As far as I can tell, the Totodile follows you, the trainer, around. So in order to dodge out of the way of the Pokemon, it's looking like you yourself will have to move. And does that mean that you are going to be, I guess, not aiming for the... Well, actually, I say that, but if we look, Homegirl, the opposing trainer, nowhere to be found over here, right? I don't see her for fucking anywhere, and this Tepig is still bouncing and moving around. So maybe that's not the case, or maybe NPCs don't have to move around, and the pig is just, or the opposing Pokemon is just kind of controlled by an AI, right? But if that's the case, it seems kind of unfair to me. But for now, we're going to go ahead and assume the Pokemon follows you around, because I didn't see any kind of button input to move around the Totodile, right? Though they don't show the actual person playing, so I could just be wrong. And now you'll see this little circle right here. You'll see it goes underneath the Totodile, and then the Totodile starts using Water Gun. So that little circle thing must be the command, right? Like, so that's what you're telling it to do. So second thing that this could imply, what if these little circles move at different speeds, right? So what if certain moves, like even hearing the command, takes longer based on like the length of the name? That might be a little too complicated, too in-depth for Pokemon. But what if, like, so Water Gun has 8 characters, right? 9 if we count the space in between them. What if something like Hyperspace Hole, which I think has 15, 16-ish characters, what if that takes twice as long to get to the theoretical Hoopa that could be in the game? What kind of gameplay implications would that have, right? I don't think that's going to be the case. Now that I'm saying that out loud, that sounds kind of dumb. But what if that's like how you quote-unquote charge the move, right? Well, let's actually take a look here. We can see the Totodile is actually taking a little bit of time to charge it and shoot the Water Gun. And now right here, right? I don't know if y'all can see, the water shoots behind the Tepig. As far as I can tell, the Tepig dodged the Water Gun, right? So we then see the Tepig still gets hurt. So, does that mean moves will have an area of an effect? And if that's the case, does that mean if the Water Gun made direct contact, the Tepig would have just fucking died? Or does it mean that if you're within the area of effect, you're going to take the full damage no matter what, right? That's kind of the question I have right now, but let's go ahead and continue. We see the Tepig running around a little bit, and then we cut. And now we see Protect. Okay. So here, the move Protect works like it does in the standard game, right? But the fucking, I don't know what this Pokemon's called, Spritzy, I think, maybe? The Spritzy was using Moonblast, and we saw it using Moonblast before the command for Protect went through. Clearly, Protect does not seem to have any kind of charge time, which is good. Or maybe there actually was, hold on. let's go back and rewatch it. Okay, so we see Moonblast right here, right? And we see the little command circle underneath the Lucario right here. And we see the Protect immediately come up. So as far as I can tell, there is no charge time at all on Protect, which is good. I kind of think that's how it should be. But what this also means is that Protect might actually be like dummy, stupid, broken, right? Because like imagine you use Protect, which we're going to see him use Protect here. And is he able to like, no, it doesn't show us the rest of the battle. Oh, that's a shame. I was about to say, is he able to then like immediately follow up with a move? And if that's the case, what if you have like a quick move, right? I don't know. That feels like Protect might actually be going hard, going insane, going dummy mode, right? Let's go ahead and continue watching. We got Stealth Rock right here. This is actually what I wanted to see. Okay, so the Stealth Rocks pops up around our guy. And then we see the Flame Wheel from the Talonflame. Oh, but the Talonflame stops. Because it runs into this. Oh, shit. Okay. So that made it look like Stealth Rock, if it doesn't stop the attack as well as being a hazard, what it could do is act like something that has to be forced through, right? So the reason the Talonflame's move didn't go all the way through is because it died before it could make contact. But in this game, it looks like you kind of set up a barrier around yourself, and if the Pokemon dies, whatever move they were using, you don't take any damage from. It could also be the case that it's just a perfect barrier, and the Pokemon doesn't have to die to stop the move entirely, which if that's the case, that's broken. Excuse me. I can't include any of that. If that's the case, Game Freak, that's broken as freak. What the actual gosh darn. It's so hard not to curse, you guys. It's so hard not to curse. God dang. Alright. Next up. Talking about Pyro using Flamethrower. Obviously, this move takes a little bit of time. And the Vivillon dodges it completely. It clearly does not have an area of effect. So now, this is one thing I did want to discuss, right? So let's go back a little bit. So the Pokemon gets recalled, and the next Pokemon gets shot out at a different angle, right? And now, does it show the Onix using any attacks? I don't think it actually does. Pyro's using Flamethrower again. Wow, this trainer sucks. Oh no, so he clicked Rock Slide. He kind of clicked it a little slow though. Ooh, and y'all saw there. That's actually very interesting. The Rock Slide circle did not move towards the Onix. So let's rewind it back a little bit. So y'all will see when he clicks Rock Slide just stays right there, right? The Onix has to go to it to use the move. So what that kind of tells me is that the circles are where the commands are going to be, right? So I don't know if there's a manual way to move the circles to the Pokemon, or if like certain commands have like set in stone, like, hey, it's going to move this much and then stay there, and the Pokemon has to go to it. Or maybe it's just different. Like depending on what move you use will determine where those little command circles go, right? Maybe some of them will be stationary, maybe some of them will track the Pokemon, maybe some of them will move in a random direction, and your Pokemon has to chase it down. That would be, I was going to say a naughty word there. That would be messed up, Game Freak, if y'all do that. It would be kind of fun, though. I'd be kind of down for it. But, the really big thing, but before we really get into it, let's continue watching this, and we'll kind of break down and dissect the gameplay a little bit more. Okay, and the Onix is able to use a move after it gets hit by the Flamethrowers. We can see the health bar went down a little bit. Okay. And it also looked like the Pyroar didn't move. Okay, and this is just going to talk about Mega Evolution. Alright, so we don't need to see this anymore. Okay, so we are back. So the really big thing I wanted to discuss. The whole moves thing, fun fact, I actually hadn't noticed the little circle command things until we just started watching, and that's when I was like, oh, excuse me. Oh shoot, we gotta talk about this. Oh my god, this is gonna be such a weird video. But yeah, the really big thing I wanted to talk about was the way that Homeboy recalled the Pokemon and sent out another one at a different location, right? So that has absurd implications for Pokemon battling, right? Off rip, if the Pokemon follows you around, right, which it seemed to, the Vivillon seemed to follow our boy around, right? What happens when you go in front of the Pokemon into an oncoming move, right? Like, does the Pokemon, does the move force you out of the way? Do you, the trainer, get damaged by said move, right? That's one thing. Two, are you able to, like, say, you know how there are, like, dodge rolls in Legends Arceus? I love using that move, by the way. That move is peak. Love that. The Y button, killer. But like there were dodge rolls in Legends Arceus, what if there's like certain maneuvers in this game that you, the trainer, could use to maybe more effectively dodge like moves, right? For example, if we have like the dodge roll from Legends Arceus, the dodge roll you kind of literally dive and then roll, right? So what if your Pokemon is kind of like behind you? Or not behind you, but what if your Pokemon's like at an angle? So it goes like your Pokemon is here, the opposing Pokemon is here. You are like running from here towards your Pokemon, right? And then this Pokemon uses Flamethrower at your Pokemon. If in front of the Flamethrower you decide to dodge roll, will your Pokemon follow you out of that? Like, will they follow you as you're finishing up your dodge roll? Will there be lag? Like, that's kind of the thing I'm thinking of, right? And more importantly, I think it would just be hella cinematic if you could do that, right? Like, say there's like a flamethrower coming at your Pokemon, and you decide to dodge roll, and as you dodge roll, you recall one Pokemon, and then as you roll, you immediately get out of the roll and throw another Pokeball to counterattack. Like, dog, does that not sound like a goddamn movie scene? That sounds so cool. That sounds so awesome. I just hope. I'm hyped. I'm really hyped for this, right? But the implications of this recalling and throwing out Pokemon is that really, Pokemon battling has always been kind of like a chess game, right? Any competitive player will tell you that Pokemon is much more similar to chess than it is to like a JRPG, just by virtue of the fact that there's kind of always a correct move, right? And you have to know what your opponent's kind of thinking in order to make the best possible move you yourself can make, right? So it's very much like chess in that it's a game of predictions. It's a game of kind of understanding what it is your opponent has, what your opponent's going through, right? What your opponent's mind space is in the moment of the game. Now, the game feels a lot more like a JRPG. It's a lot more about timing. It's a lot less about sequencing isn't the right word. I think it's a lot more about sequencing now. It's a lot less about kind of the chess matchiness and much more about like your own reaction time, right? Like we saw in the battle against the Pyroar, Homeboy threw out an Onyx into an oncoming flamethrower, right? If he had like thrown out the Onyx somewhere else, he probably wouldn't have gotten hit with the flamethrower. If he'd thrown out the Onyx closer to him, which I don't know if that's something you can do, but until we figure it out, I'm assuming you can. If you threw out the Onyx closer to him, maybe the Rock Slide would have gotten to him first, or he would have gotten to the Rock Slide before the Flamethrower hit, and then the Rock Slide could have potentially hit the Pyroar before the Pyroar used Flamethrower. Which that's another thing. What happens when two Pokemon use the same, like, type of move at the same time? Like, well, what if two Pokemon use a move, two different moves, but they have the same charge up time, and they both knock each other out? Like, can that happen? Or is one always going to go first before the other one, right? And if both Pokemon can get knocked out, I mean, that's freaking hype. That's awesome. But two, if it's a simultaneous knockout and it's both trainers' last Pokemon, who wins? Or does that make it a draw? What happens in, I'm assuming in story mode, I'm assuming in like the actual story of the game, when you're up against a villain and that happens, you lose. Because whenever there's been like, if you've ever like self-destructed on an Electrode to kill your Electrode and kill your opponent's final Pokemon, and the Electrode was your final Pokemon, in those games, you generally do end up the loser. So I'm assuming you lose, but what actually ends up happening in like a more competitive sense? Assuming, of course, there's a PvP thing, right? A lot of questions, a hell of a lot of questions. I don't have all the answers. Shoot, I know that for sure. But it's fun to talk about, fun to theorize. I think it's gonna be interesting. It's gotta be interesting. It's gotta be really, really, really. I'm just fascinated. if I'm being for real with y'all, I'm incredibly fascinated by what this game could be. I'm a big fan of the anime from when I was a kid, and I'm a big fan of real-time games, right? Of live action games. That's not the right word. I think it is real time. I like Kingdom Hearts more than I like Final Fantasy. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Is I've always enjoyed like fighting, like games in real time, like the action in real time, than I have turn by turn. The only turn by turn combat game I've ever consistently enjoyed is in fact Pokemon. but I'm actually really excited to try out this new Pokemon formula. I'm hoping it doesn't replace it forever. I don't think anybody wants it to be replaced forever. Maybe some of y'all do, maybe some of y'all don't. But the reason I love Pokemon so much is because it's like a chess match. However, I am so dummy excited to play this version of Pokemon where it's less like a chess match and more like a boxing match. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it looks so much fun. It looks like so much fun, you guys. Oh, I'm hyped. I'm so hyped. If y'all are hyped too, let me know down below. And y'all tell me what you think of these new battle mechanics. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Let me know down below what you think those little circles are. I think it's pretty obvious that they're commands, but who knows? I could be wrong. And let me know what you think of the combat. Let me know how you guys will like it. All that good stuff. Just let me know what you're thinking. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Helps me out. Lets me know I'm doing a good job here on the platform. And until the next video, which fingers crossed will be up on a Thursday. We'll see. I will catch you sweet and spicy, sexy. I will catch you sweet and spicy, beautiful Pokemon trainers next time. Peace.